Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I'm so sorry about all the technical difficulties. I am still really new to YouTube and I just appreciate everyone's support and watching me despite the fact that I want to do more than what I'm able to right now. I'm working on that. Don't worry, things are going to get fixed and hopefully in a couple of weeks time we'll be having regular videos the way I intended them to be. Okay, now today is what I call Tipsy Thursday, 0% alcohol. Okay, what Tipsy Thursday is basically, it's Thursday and I'm giving some tips. I'm laying down them tips like them chips. Okay, so before we get into Tipsy Thursday and what we're doing today, which you can probably see from the title of the video, we're going to take a look at our scripture of the day. The scripture of the day that we are looking at, reading once again from the World English Bible, is in Genesis 22 verse 1. Genesis 22 verse 1 says, "After these things God tested Abraham. He said to him, 'Abraham,' and he said, 'Here I am.'" So in the scripture, God is talking to Abraham, and if you notice, Abraham kind of responded immediately. So that shows you the kind of relationship that Abraham and God have, right? Little bit of context. God was going to ask Abraham after this, right, to give up his son Isaac. So that was a really big moment in the book of Genesis, right? Most people know that by now. A lot of people have some controversial things to say and think about it. But the way I like to look at it is that sometimes God requires us to give up something important to ourselves because He wants us to have something better, right? This is an allusion to what happened. I'm not saying that I approve of God telling Abraham to kill his son, because I would freak out if God asked me to do that. I'd be like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, God. We need to have a sit down and chat. But anyway, so God, as we believe in Him, is all-powerful and all-knowing. Only He knows how this moment that we are going through is related to the next. So the key here is to exercise your faith by trusting in God blindly. We have to trust that God has our best interests at heart. And the Bible is full of examples saying that God only thinks about us positively. He only thinks good things to us. One of those examples is from Jeremiah 29:11. So this trust thing is really what I believe God is trying to say to us today. Trust me because I know what's coming next and I know how to help you. So I hope that that message encourages someone today who needs to hear it. Right, now back to Tipsy Thursday. What we are looking at today is how to make a killer CV. You know, a lot of people are applying for jobs and I hear so many more people saying that there are no jobs. And I'm like, how is this possible that there are more people and less jobs available for those people? I found it a little bit confusing. So what I'm talking about today is basically a list of things that I noticed can impact whether or not you get a call back or whether or not you get an interview when crafting a CV and that entire process surrounding crafting a CV. Okay, firstly, we're taking a look at how to find a job online or offline. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in another video. But firstly, the things we need to know that anything that requires you to pay is 9 out of 10 times going to be a scam. Finding a job on the internet or anywhere should not actually require you to pay money in order to receive something from them. So I don't trust any of those things. Maybe there are legit things out there, and I'm sure some of you can mention it in the comments, but most of the time it's a scam, okay? Next thing is that finding a job online doesn't necessarily mean the job will be an online job. You might be working on the site online, or you could be working at the site, or you could be working at home and submitting tasks via email or Google Drive, etc. So just because you found the job online doesn't necessarily mean it's totally online, or even if it says it's an online job. Just keep that in mind. The next thing that I wanted to say was that there are far more jobs available than you think. You're just not thinking creatively enough about jobs. But we'll go back to that in another video, okay? Today we're just going to look at CVs, right? How to find a job? Check your CV. Make sure your CV reflects your work experience and your training, and update your CV if it doesn't. Number 2, check your references. I know someone who lost many job opportunities because they had put someone as a reference who was giving potential employers negative information about them. I tend to write references available on request on my CV. So if they want a reference, I'll contact my previous employer and send the relevant details to the company considering me as a potential employee. Okay, sounds simple enough. Number 3, if you don't know how to write a CV or resume, Google it. The simplest way to do this is to literally search professional CV template, or you can search the CV template of the job you're applying for. For example, fireman resume template. Okay? Important to note here, do not plagiarize the CV and put your own name on it. If you found it easily, your potential employer can too. Rather, reword the CV and put your own work experience and relevant to the job on your CV. Okay, that's really important. I was so surprised at how many people were telling me that they found a CV online and they just took it and they just put their own name in it and put their own work dates in it. I was like, you can't be serious. Anyway, then number 4, if you are employed or were employed, a good idea would be to look up an accurate job description so that you can include these things that apply to you in your CV. Sometimes we aren't even aware of certain things we do on a daily basis that can help us get a job. Searching your job description helps you to outline what employers are looking for when they post a job advertisement. Okay? Now here's something that's really interesting that I don't think many people consider. Number 5, church work can be relevant work experience. Any work that you do for any sort of religious organization or part-time work or volunteer work or anything can be relevant work experience. For example, being on a worship team means you have music experience and teamwork experience at like the most basic level of that, right? Helping with the offering or even being someone who counts the money means that you have the capability to work with money and are trustworthy. So this opens up a bunch of cashier jobs for you, or jobs that require you to be behind a till or counting money, or I don't know, maybe even insurance and those kind of things, because it shows that you're trustworthy, right? Working in the youth or children's church means that you have leadership experience and you maybe even have childcare or child assisting experience to an extent. So you've got some of that. Also possibly means you have patience. So you could put that on your CV as well, right? I mean, with working in youth or children's church, there's lots of lesson planning and enacting those lessons that goes into these things at church. So keep this in mind when you are filling in things on your CV. Okay, number 6. Don't forget that you can put a character reference on your CV. You can ask a pastor or leader for this, and I'm sure they won't mind helping you to find a job. Okay, number 7. So, that being said, if you are unemployed or if you're looking for a new job, go and volunteer in a field where you want a job. If you're a writer or want a job in a language-related field, consider volunteering to read to kids at school, right? Ask schools or language teachers if you can pair up with them to host book clubs, etc. Heck, even just head to your local community center or library and ask if they've got a free room for you to start hosting a weekly community group. The point is, do anything you can to add to your work experience. Just because you are unemployed does not have to mean you are lazy, at least according to your CV, okay? Here's another awesome tip that I don't think many people consider. Number 8, keep multiple CVs, each with specific information for the type of job you are applying for. Many people don't know this, but when you read a job advert, don't just rush in to send your generic CV. You should read the advert carefully and adjust your CV to reflect the kind of requirements they are asking for. It actually helps to have multiple different CVs, like ready to go, just based on the jobs you are looking for, right? For example, I have an office job CV which lists all of my skills and experience relating to administrative tasks, right? I also have a writing CV which lists all of my related experience and accomplishments in that area, right? For example, if you have a blog or you have a Wattpad or something, any kind of job that is available for someone with that kind of requirement for writing, it's a good idea to list all of these things in your CV. or to have a separate CV that basically lists all of these things intentionally so that people can review that, right? Now, number 10, I think, is the most important step for everyone, even if you're not a Christian. Number 10 is pray. Prayer can help relieve your stress and take away that overwhelming feeling of dread that comes with unemployment. Praying about the process before sending off your CV and also during making your CV can only help. So I think just give it a shot. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please comment down below if any of my Tipsy Thursday tips helped you secure a job or an interview. I would love to hear your own success stories, or even if you just have something to say about the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please check out my work in progress, Under the Mistletoe, on Wattpad. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.